Good morning, and thank you all for coming to the Mayor's media briefing for the month of February. My name is John Martin. I am the Interim Communications Specialist for the City of Colorado Springs. Today we'll be hearing from three speakers, Mayor Steve Bach, Corey Farkas, and Tim Metros, all discussing different things. We do have time for questions at the end. I'll come back up and take your questions. But let's get started right now with the Mayor of the City of Colorado Springs, Mayor Steve Bach.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. Appreciate the media taking your time to be with us once a month. And I want to start on kind of a personal note here, if I could, this morning. Today will be the last time that Laura Newman will be officially here as our Chief of Staff. And I could run on with a lot of comments. I simply wanted to say how deeply thankful I am for all you've done. 27 months doesn't seem right. More like 27 years, honestly, in terms of your body life, probably. But I've been so fond of telling stories about hearing about you being in the gym at 4 in the morning, doing 500 push-ups and riding your bike 500 miles, getting here at 6 in the morning, working late. More than that, though, there's some people here that know you in other ways than I do who report to you, and I'm sure they must have the same feeling I have this morning, which is just incredible appreciation and sadness, honestly. It's a bittersweet time for us, but you've done so much, and that will have such great impact, I really believe, for generations to come, Laura. You're the finest example of citizen leadership I can possibly think of, and I'll never forget, we met initially, and you wisely said thank you, but I don't think this probably a fit for me, and mutual friend kept after you, and I kept after you, and you finally acquiesced and made the commitment. And commit you did in such an amazing way. I could go on, and I will later. We're going to have a roast of Laura Newman. Media will not be invited to that, at least not officially. Not officially. Maybe personally, you'll be welcome to join us. But Councilman Snyder, I appreciate you being here this morning. I hope you have a similar feeling about Laura Newman, all she's contributed to our city. And I would just wish you the very best, and I've got other plans for you. We'll discuss those a little bit later. Well, I want to cover several things with you. First, on City for Champions. This afternoon, in fact, at 3 o'clock at the Regional Building Center, we'll have our next working session of the core leadership group. I don't think we've noticed that because it's, I'm told by the City Attorney's Office, not an official city or elected leadership meeting. We did invite Keith King and Murray Bennett to be there, along with, of course, Dennis Heisey and Amy Latham will be there. But if you choose to be there, you're welcome. We just didn't notice this as a public meeting because we're told we didn't need to. Following that, at 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock, Amy Latham will lead a community conversation at the same location at the Regional Building Center for our fellow citizens to come and learn, hopefully, some new things that they are not aware of about City for Champions, but most importantly, to ask questions and to make comments. And this really is the first in what will be a monthly opportunity. We want to vary the times and the days when we hold these joint conversations with the county commissioners. We've asked City Council to join us. I note that City Council is going to have their own town hall, I believe soon. Val, is it this week, your town hall? Next week. So we need to ramp up more and more conversation throughout the region on City for Champions. And I want to reiterate what I hope I have said all along, which is I support City for Champions in concept. I think it can be a tremendous economic driver for our city, not just the direct jobs, but the catalytic effect on attracting and retaining outstanding companies who want to hire great employees, who want to live in a vibrant city. We have a lot of work to do, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, especially as to the economics. I will recommend this afternoon to this group that the city join the county in retaining a third-party expert. I think the county's well along in that determination. A third-party expert in financial modeling and forecasting and economics to give us a truly independent look at all aspects of City for Champions. That's the right thing to do, and so I support that. Hope City Council as well join in on that. And this conversation will evolve over these coming months. And we need to get to the point where most folks are not only comfortable but excited about City for Champions, and I hope a majority on City Council will come to that conclusion. But I agree the jury's out, so to speak. We have a lot of work to do. It's complicated, and but I think we can boil it down in a way people can understand. And again, I want to reiterate, I will not support any tax increase of any type or any fee to be charged for City for Champions. I don't anticipate there would be any borrowing to be repaid out of the general fund revenues. If there were, I would ask City Council, and I'm sure Council would agree, to ask the voters to decide that. So we're not going to be putting taxpayers at risk in City for Champions. It would be the same kind of financing as was recently approved by City Council for Copper Ridge, for example, and previously for the vineyards, for Ivy Wild, and of course for University Village. And that all needs to be fully explained and debated and massaged, and I'm sure there's some folks in this room who will do a good job of that to help us fully do that. Again, though, I do support this strongly in concept. We need a game-changing watershed new direction for our city. We have high unemployment, too many people out of work, too many others underemployed. We owe it to future generations to take definitive action now in this city and in this region. And I intend to help, along with my peers, get that done. I'm told by the city attorney's office that technically the mayor of Colorado Springs has the unilateral authority to stand up something called the Regional Tourism Act Advisory Board required by the State Economic Development Commission. In other words, I suppose I could on my own decide who's going to participate in that board. Instead of that, I've asked Colorado Springs Council President Keith King and El Paso County Commission Chair Dennis Heisey to co-chair that with me. Not to be vice chairs, but to be co-chairs, because I think that is an appropriate way for us to proceed. We understand we need to have a representative from each of the four venues on this same advisory board, and so we'll determine that. And then we are in the midst of discussing possibly up to 8 citizens to join the board from various walks of life and perspectives, and hopefully with skill sets that would be additive to that group. I'm also told that I have the unilateral authority to sign what's called a resolution with the state. It's a contract, really, but the state chose to call it a resolution. Here again, though, I'm going to share that with all of my peers, city council, county commissioners. We're not going to have 2 to 4 weeks, Val, probably to massage it. As with some things coming our way, it's probably going to have to be expedited, but there will be an opportunity for certainly the county commissioners and the city council members to comment and offer ideas on this resolution. I will sign it in the end. I hope on a consensus basis. We're going to strive toward that. Next, on stormwater, we held a meeting in this room on January 16th, Pikes Peak Region Mayor's Caucus meeting. We invited county commissioners and city council members to join us, which many did. And we received a report from CH2M Hill on their second look at the county's stormwater needs, as well as those projects that should involve more than one jurisdiction. In other words, stormwater projects that should be the responsibility of more than one entity. In our case, we recognize as a city that we contribute, particularly downstream from us, to stormwater issues for Fountain and Whitefield Security and El Paso County. And so we wanted to learn more about what are those joint responsibilities, what's the scope? And I believe we were told, Laura, that the joint projects that were identified as high priority that involve multiple jurisdictions is in the range of about $12 million, which is certainly doable. On top of that, Fountain has 2 very serious, I think, projects, one on Jimmy Camp Creek and one on Fountain Creek that may be $20 million each, plus or minus. I'm getting above my pay grade, Tim, excuse me. But point I want to make simply is that we recognize a joint responsibility and opportunity with other jurisdictions on stormwater. And the next step will be that I will be meeting with the elected leader members of the Stormwater Task Force here on February 26th, Val. At least I have that on my calendar. I think it'll be Jan and you, Jan Martin and Val Snyder, and I believe Dennis Heisey and Amy Lathan. Eileen Gonzalez, your administrator, suggested we invite mayors of the outlying communities, so we're doing that in case they want to sit in on that. And you may remember that in the January 16th stormwater meeting that Jan Martin said that she felt that the Regional Stormwater Task Force proposal and the one I have brought forward are not that far apart. So hopefully we can make some real progress on the 26th of this month as a core group of people. And Here again, I don't know if that's something that is officially a public meeting. I don't have a problem, Val, if you don't, if the media is at that. I just don't have a preference either way. I don't know how you all want to structure that because it was really a meeting that Jan suggested. So I'll ask City Council to make that determination on whether this is something we open up, at least for the media to be a part of. With that, I want to introduce somebody who's so instrumental in our stormwater activities. Certainly up until this point has been clearly instrumental in the work we've gotten done. Had it not been for this gentleman and his team of people and many people that they've retained to help. And those floods in last September, we could have had a real catastrophe in our city. But I would just say as a layperson that my understanding is that the catchment basins that had been previously installed above mountain shadows, for example, on that whole drainage area really held back a great deal of sedimentation that could have created disaster had that precaution not been taken. So I'm so thankful for this person's leadership. I'd like to ask him to step forward and give me more detail on stormwater. Tim Mitros. Tim?
Thank you, Mayor. Tim Mitros, I'm our Stormwater and Development Review Manager for the City of Colorado Springs, and I wanted to talk about 4 areas. From September storms, we've had a FEMA declaration, and we have several FEMA projects that we're working on. The NRCS, the National Resource Conservation Service, is giving us some exigent funding, which is emergency funding, and we'll be using that. And then I want to talk about the mayor's money that he gave us last year, and we're working on the Camp Creek and Douglas Creek projects. As for FEMA, we've identified over 50 projects that we're working with FEMA right now to make sure that these projects will be, FEMA will cover the costs on them. They've given us funding for 2 larger projects. One of them is the Shooks Run Wall between Kiowa and Bijou Street. A section of the wall failed. It's about $375,000. We're currently working with the neighborhood and getting ready to hire a consultant to design that section of wall. The other project, the big one we're working on, is a 96-inch corrugated steel pipe over on 8th Street back behind Panino's. Broad Market Square, the pipe failed. FEMA has said they will give us funding for that project. Our street department is actually going to start that project the end of this month. So congrats to Corey Farkas. He's stepped up and he's going to get that project done for us. The other thing that you probably noticed FEMA's going to pay for is the debris in Garden of the Gods, just below the Navigators. If you've done any hiking in that area, there's about 3 to 4 feet of sediment that's come down, and so that would be cleaned out also by our street department. So I'm going to go to the Camp Creek project since we're talking about Garden of the Gods. After the debris is removed, we've got $350,000 in exigent funding, so we'll be constructing a cleanable basin right at the bottom of the Navigators property, top end of Garden of the Gods. And this basin will collect the debris. Our street division will be able to get in there and clean it out. In addition, as the mayor mentioned, we had 5 basins up in North Douglas Creek. All 5 of them filled up after September storms with debris, approximately 60,000 cubic yards. In addition, our concrete channel started to receive debris. So we are going to spend about $200,000 in the exigent funding and construct a cleanable basin on the Flying W, which our street division will be able to get in and clean it out. This project is currently under design and will be constructed before summer of this year. Douglas Creek, of the mayor's money, we're spending approximately $4.5 million replacing bad sections of North and South Douglas Creek. We've taken out quite a few sections of the concrete channel and have replaced it with new concrete to make that channel so it'll continue to carry the flow. The sediment coming out of the burn area is acting like sandpaper, so it's good that we got this money to fix these sections of concrete. And I believe that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Tim. Am I right? The City of Colorado Springs this year is spending approximately $26 million on stormwater.
We have budgeted.
Budget, excuse me. Hoping to spend it if we can get it engineered. Last year we spent 20. I think that's important to note. It's not enough, clearly. I mean, we've got to do better than that. But the City of Colorado Springs is not standing by idly. We are spending significant money on stormwater improvements. I do want to thank City Council for the additional appropriation that you granted us. A year ago about this time, we had an all-time high in our emergency reserves in the city, and that enabled us then to ask City Council for a special appropriation for Waldo Canyon fire flood mitigation. It was very instrumental in being able to move us forward. Before I introduce our last speaker, I want to make a comment briefly because I'm getting inquiries on the Memorial Health System para-lawsuit. My comment is that is a City Council matter. City Council controls both Colorado Springs Utilities and Memorial Health System. Or maybe I should just say it has the oversight of those two enterprises. And so with respect to this lawsuit between the city and the Public Employees Retirement Association, please, in the media, take your questions and comments to President of Council Keith King and his colleagues who are here and others. I have no standing in that matter. I've not been consulted, nor would it be appropriate, because that is a function of City Council. That's one area where I get to skate, because as George Sr. said at one time, he was loopless, so am I on at least that one matter. Hopefully that's the only one. Next speaker is somebody that I'm certainly very proud of, particularly given all that we've experienced in this community in the last weeks in terms of snow and ice and tough weather conditions. And I'm sure there's some people out there that still aren't happy with the way we're taking care of our streets, but we've gotten a lot of compliments from people about the improved snow plowing in our city. And I just thought it might be worth your while in the media to hear from our streets manager as to what he and his folks have done to try to change the way we handle snow plowing, kind of give you a sense for that new direction. So very thankful here this morning for Corey Farkas. If you come up and make a few comments, Corey. Thank you, our streets manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for having me. This is great. I look out in the crowd. I've done interviews with a few of you over the last few weeks during some snowstorms. So I wanted to start off this morning at the Streets Division. I've been there since July. We've completely are in the process of revamping everything we do at the Streets Division, our philosophies and how we do business. And we came up with a new mission statement over at the Streets Division. And it goes like this: as trusted stewards of Colorado Springs, the Streets Division delivers exceptional customer service by professionally maintaining the infrastructure of our city through innovative programs which maximize tax dollars while optimizing resources to ensure the highest quality of life for our growing community. Couple things that we hit on in that mission statement: trusted stewards of our infrastructure, innovative programs, and growing community. Some things that we're very interested in at the Streets Division and are trying very hard to cultivate over there. So with that, I wanted to kind of talk about this map that you see here. This is a prototype map. My management team and I have been working on this over the last few weeks, and this is going to lend itself to everything we do in our operations. That's including snow removal, that's including maintenance, in-house and contracted, everything. Now, you'll remember previously we used to have 16 grids within the city. We're now going to a 4-district model. And what that's going to do, as you can see there, we're going to have the North District up top, which is green. Below that, kind of a bluish color in the central. I guess kind of a light pinkish color at the bottom. And then over on the west side is a pink color. Those are going to be our 4 districts. And again, this is going to lend itself to our maintenance. What we're going to be able to do with this is better schedule and plan our operations so that we can start to be proactive. We can start to get a 3 to 5 year look ahead on everything that we're doing concrete, everything that we're doing asphalt, as well as better maintain our roads for snow. So for example, in 2014, what you're going to see up at the top in that green area, all of our chip seal and slurry seal program is going to be in that green area, okay? We're going to be able to spread all of our programs throughout the city this way, make sure the entire city gets touched, yet we're going to be able to concentrate our programs in these different areas. So chip seal and slurry seal, they're going to be in that green area. All of our asphalt overlay is going to be in that central area, that purplish blue area there. All of our concrete, our pre-overlay concrete, is going to be at the south end, and it's going to wrap up to the west. We're going to have a slightly larger pre-overlay concrete program this year so that we can get a buffer in between our concrete and our overlay so that we're not on top of each other every year. And then every year it's going to move clockwise. So the next year in 2015, the chip seal and slurry seal is going to move down into the central area. The asphalt will move down into the southern area, and we'll be able to move in a clockwise motion. Again, this is going to let us plan and schedule much more efficiently and effectively and utilize the dollars that we do get to the best of our abilities. As far as snow goes, we're making these districts, we've broken them up per lane mile, so that all of them are fairly equal in size. That way we can allocate our resources and all of our materials to logistically better serve the city, and it's going to make our snow removal operations that much better. Again, with that, let's kind of move into snow removal. It's what the mayor kind of wanted me up here talking about. We've made a lot of changes this year in how we look at snow, how we attack snow. Again, we're in the process of making these new programs as we speak, and what that means is we're still having to do our day jobs, if you will. The city doesn't just stop, so we're still out there. We're still plowing snow, somewhat under some of the old programs. Yet we're developing these new programs as we go and implementing them as we can. So one of the things that we've done on this map here is we've overlaid the existing primary and secondary streets to this map. We're in the process of taking those primaries and secondaries, the old way of doing business, and making a priority system. We want to make a priority 1, 2, and 3 system. The problem with having the primary and secondary street system is all of our emergency, our hospitals, our fire departments, our police departments, and our schools, they're all on secondary routes. So if we're not getting to secondary routes until we finish the primaries, then we're not getting to our emergency routes until later on in the storm. So what we would rather do is we would rather make a priority system. So our priority 1s are going to consist of several north, south, east, west major thoroughfares to get people moving. They're also going to consist of all of our emergency routes. So anything around a fire department, anything around a police department or hospital are going to be in the priority 1 system. Schools will be taken care of on a time basis. If the storm is coming at midnight and we need to get out at 5 o'clock to plow around schools prior to the kiddos getting there, then we're going to do that. And we're going to make sure that the schools are all plowed prior to 7 a.m. when all the kids get to school. And then we'll do the same in the afternoon for pickup. So school routes are going to be on a timed basis, but priority 1s are going to be the emergency and the major thoroughfares. Then the priority 2s are going to go to what we would call primaries on this, the remainder of the primaries on this map, and they're going to be the rest of the main thoroughfares. Priority 3s are going to be what on this map would be secondaries or collector streets. And then we're also revamping how we do residentials. In the past, you'll remember we would not get into residential streets unless there was 6 inches or more of snow, and that all the primaries and secondaries were also taken care of. Again, there's kind of a problem with that in that cars are running up and down these residential streets during the storm, packing down the snow. By the time we could get to them, you're on ice. You're on packed ice, packed snow, very difficult to get off, and just running a plow up and down them really wasn't going to do anything. So what we're doing for the residentials is we're trying to revamp how we do that, and what we're doing is we're trying to make what we call a hotspot list. We live in a mountainous area. There's a lot of residentials on hills. So in that, we're going to, as people call in, whether it be a complaint or whether we notice it proactively on our own, we have our people out taking a look at north-facing hills and residential areas that might not melt days after the snow has already been cleared. We're going to try to make a list of those, and as we get a comprehensive list, once we get our priorities done during the storm, we're going to go ahead and hit those residential areas and clear those hills for those folks that could be a danger. Our philosophy is snow is an emergency operation, whether it's half an inch or whether it's 10 inches. It's an emergency operation, and we need to be making the streets safe for all the citizens out there. So those are some of the changes that we're making on the map. As far as our operations go, one probably main change that we've made this year is we're plowing in sequence. Rather than take a plow and send a plow northbound on Academy and one southbound on Academy, where they're clearing only the inside lane, by the time they finish their loop, they're coming back around, and if the snow's still flying, it's filled in. If people are changing lanes, they're pulling snow back into that lane, and they're basically just making one big loop on one lane and clearing that snow. So what we're doing this year is we're sequence plowing. We're getting 3 and 4 plows on Academy, and we're clearing all of Academy at one time. And this is just one road, for example. But we'll clear all of Academy at one time and treat it at the same time so that road is cleared, and then we're able to branch off and go to Union and Woodman and other roads like that. It's making our snow operation much more effective. We're getting the snow cleared much sooner and getting the roads treated in a much more effective ways. So that's the main reason that we're doing that. And as far as some of the other things that we're doing at the Streets Division, we're trying to be very innovative, and we're trying to touch the community. We've done a lot of, especially during the snow, we've done a lot of interviews, things of that nature. We want to obviously utilize the media to get our message out there quite a bit. So one of the things that we're going to be putting out as soon as we can when we get the next storm is a snow bus. Transit was kind enough to loan us a bus, and we're going to be taking trips on the snow bus during the next storm. We're going to get executive management out. We're going to get our peers out there, and what we're going to be doing with that is trying to help establish a level of service and an expectation for snow removal within the city. We also want to get the media out there and explain to you during a snow operation some of the challenges that we do come up against while we're out there plowing snow. 7,400 plus lane miles with 75 operators running 24 hours a day. It's an epic task, and we want to get that message out there to you folks. So as soon as timing lends itself to it and we get a good snow here in the next coming weeks, we'll be communicating with you folks on that to get everybody out there. The Touch-A-Truck, we're also in contact right now with District 11. We're going to get out there to the other districts as well as soon as we can, and we're going to drop our plows off at local schools, and we're going to let the kids paint on the plow. And it's the plow that's in their neighborhood, the one that does around their school, around their area, so that when they see that plow out, they can point to it and say, hey, that's my plow. And we did do this here recently. The Junior League did a Touch-A-Truck event over at the Freedom Financial Events Center. We loaned them a plow and a sweeper, and we let the kids paint on the plow. It came out fantastic. So there's this next snowstorm, you will see one very colorful plow driving around town out there. So if you do, you know where it came from. And we'll have more of those. And as that starts to develop with the school districts, we'll get in contact with you folks for that as well. Downtown cleanup, we've taken a walking tour downtown. We've been working with the downtown folks, and we're coming up with a downtown cleanup plan. Late spring, early summer, we're going to send some crews downtown to make sure that all the potholes are filled. We're going to clean alleys. We're going to send sweepers through alleys. Prior to the summer events that start to happen downtown, when streets are blocked off and folks start utilizing these alleys as walking thoroughfares, we want to make sure that they're cleaned up and that the city's looking good. So just a couple of the things that we're working on over at the Streets Division. So, thank you.
All right, I guess we'll open the floor up to any questions from the media. And if you raise your hand, Miss Aubrey will bring a microphone to you. All right, and we have one back there. Kristen?
This question is directed to Corey, actually. Corey, you mentioned the challenges again that you guys as a Streets Division take in during a snow operation. Can you repeat that? That's one. And then when would the Touch-A-Truck system be implemented or put in place here in the city?
The Touch-A-Truck, we've been in contact with District 11. We're talking to them right now. We're trying to get some feedback from them on schools that'll be interested in it. And at this point in time, we'll probably put out maybe a pilot program to just a couple of schools here in the springtime to try to get a couple of plows dropped off. We definitely don't want to get caught with all our plows at school and a spring snowstorm come in while our plows are at school. This is Colorado Springs, and it has happened. So we're probably going to do a pilot program, and then as we see how that program develops in the fall when kids come back to school, maybe August, September, we can get in contact with the other school districts, D20, D2, D49, all the others, and start talking to them about doing the same thing. And hopefully next year you'll see our entire fleet of plows driving around town with the kids' marks on them. The other one is the challenges that we run into. You know, these folks, our operators, when they're out in plows, they run a 12-hour shift. We run 24-hour operations, so we're shifting, going 24 hours a day. This last storm that came through, consecutive storms, we worked 11 out of 14 days in 24-hour operations. You know, that gets, for the management team, we need to properly manage our people's rest. We need to manage our materials. We need to manage our equipment as equipment starts to go down, that kind of thing, so that we're managing that storm. And then for our operators out there, they're working really hard. They're working really long hours, and they're in a plow. It's a huge piece of equipment. There's some limited visibilities. I mean, you can only imagine the blind spots you have in a car, the blind spots that you have in a plow, even worse. So as they're out there trying to do their job, you know, they need to not only drive in this weather, but they're also doing a job. They're operating this piece of equipment and trying to move snow. Becomes really difficult during rush hour times. The plows tend to get in traffic with all the people on the road, and they really can't effectively do their job at that point in time because they're surrounded by vehicles. So that's why we're trying to go into the team plowing, the sequence plowing. That actually creates even during rush hour, we'll create a traffic break. We'll have try to have, if we can, a chase vehicle behind with their lights going. All the plows have their lights on, and when you see 3 or 4 plows going across on Academy, traffic tends to stay back a little bit, and we'll be able to clear the snow at that point in time. Otherwise, we're basically just stuck in traffic at that point. So, okay.
We have run over our allotted time, so thank you very much for coming out. I have one more quick announcement. The 3rd Annual Mayor's Cup Golf Tournament will be held on Thursday, May 22nd. If we're still looking for sponsors, so if you are interested, please email Donna or dznelson@springsgov.com or 385-5477. Thank you very much for coming today. Enjoy the sunshine.